Jesus, I love you. Jesus, I love you. What do you guys think?
Cool.
All right.
Tell me a tale that always was. Sing me a song that I'll always hear.
So I knew about a year ago I was going to have to leave New Jersey, and the question was, where am I going to move? It started out, I thought God was calling me to the mission field somewhere in the Middle East. Eventually it came, God sending me to Turkey to minister to the Muslims. Well, God had a different plan. He told me, you're going to move into Wilmington. So then another question pops up, where am I going to move into Wilmington? And I felt God was calling me. I know this is a rough city, and I know I want to minister to the city, so I knew I want to be a part of it. So I'm going to find a place where I can be involved in the city. God's really showed up. I moved here about 3 weeks ago now, and God has really just revealed himself in so many ways. I've had so many opportunities to minister to people in this community. It's tough because you don't see the fruit right away. So I know if I'm going to see any fruit out here, it's going to be by God's grace alone. So I got with my community group and said, I need you guys to be praying for me. I need God to open doors. I'm not going to be out here on my own. I'm going to have no success. So I got my community group, asked them to start praying for God to open doors for boldness. I'm not going to lie. I'm scared sometimes out here. You know, I feel anxiety. You know, coming to walk in my front door, people walk behind me, and it takes everything I have not to look behind me and see what's going on. But I know God's got a plan, and whatever happens, happens. So just through the prayers of people in the community group, it's just really starting to build a family life, and that's something I'm really looking for. I don't have family around here, and when I was moving out of Jersey, all my family, all my friends, Josh, when are you moving back home? And again, that was another inner battle, because I love my family, love my friends, but I have this call to move to the city, to minister to the city. So it takes that growing, the brothers and sisters I have in my community group and at church to help me through this time, and it's going to be an ongoing thing every day until God calls me somewhere else. So God's really shown up in my life.
Today is the first Sunday of the Advent season. Do any of you know what Advent means? Do you know? Do you know?
It means, I forget.
May 2011, got my degree in civil engineering, but I had known long before I walked across the graduation stage that I was not going to pursue a career in engineering. So I knew that I was planning on getting involved with the campus ministry at the University of Delaware and a varsity Christian fellowship, working specifically with athletes. And I knew that if I wasn't going to go the engineering route, if God wasn't going to provide for me through an engineering job, that I knew that God was going to have to show up, just as far as me raising support financially, to be a missionary on the campus at UD. So my parents, I think their vision for me was to be an engineer, to be successful, to get a lot of things, and just live a comfortable life. But that was not what I felt like God was calling me to. So it's been really encouraging, and I just feel like I've really been able to grow and just seeing God show up for me over this past year with my finances, just being on campus, and just seeing people grow closer to the Lord, seeing people start to understand the gospel for the first time. It's just been a beautiful thing to see God show up that way.
God has been pretty awesome for us in the last year. I mean, first of all, we've been married for just a little over a year, so that's basically been God showing up. At least I know for a fact for me. I mean, because my parents thought I would never get married. My mom has been begging for children for a long time, and so she's kind of given up on me as giving her children. But I think she's happy now that I found the woman of my dreams, love of my life, and that definitely has been a blessing this entire year that we've been together. And just the way we got here to Wilmington has been God showing up. And I mean, Gina, she knows what she does now. We came here from Baltimore about four months ago almost, and just been almost five actually. Yeah, it's been a while. It's been a wonderful journey. But I guess I'll let her kind of tell you about what brought us here, how we got from Baltimore to here this past year, and what that's meant for us in our life.
I know that I definitely feel like I agree with you that God's really shown up for us in the last year and the last couple of years. 'Cause I know we both had our times of being more distant from God than we wanted to be, and kind of figuring things out and figuring out sometimes in a more difficult way than easy, that we needed to kind of change what we were doing in our lives. And I think after we both did that, I think that's when we both started seeing changes in our lives and how things were going and things moving in a forward, positive way. And from me getting to Baltimore the way that I did, and having a job that I found really trying and difficult at times, and then finding you and
in a church, no less.
In a church,
which doesn't happen apparently.
and I know I tried for so long to find a different job, and I was looking in Baltimore and trying to stay there, and then I was just looking around, and it was pretty amazing in that it wasn't anything I had done to find the job, that it came to me.
And just the fact that it worked out so well in terms of what she was able to find. First, she's doing basically the dream job she's always wanted to do, is teach other younger people the art of the trade of her path, and also be able to just be there, be a mentor. Mm-hmm. But not just that, just being able to not only facilitate that, but also keep me where I'm at, which has been the dream for me. I've loved working for the Army, and I love doing what I do and helping the soldier, and just being able to do that and still be there, and her be able to do her job and find an acceptable medium, which is Wilmington, which we've come to love. It's just been great. Just the fact that we've come here and things just kind of lined up for us. Nothing we did, it seemed that it was all God. It really was.
Yeah. Do you remember what Santa's bringing you? What did you ask for?
A beaver doll.
A beaver doll?
Yeah.
And what else?
I found a roller doll like Mommy's had.
How has God shown up in our lives? This is the first year that God has been present in our family in a way that both Eric and I have acknowledged and accepted him.
It's the first year I accepted him, period. So
it's been kind of learning to live with God in our family publicly, where before not that I felt that I had to be quiet about my faith, but it wasn't something that was
discussed in our home.
Right. And
just because I wasn't a true believer. I really hadn't so to speak, seeing God. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. So it made the hard times easier, that we could come together and pray together. We had some problems, some health problems with our daughter, and just some growing pains with our son, that it's more comforting to know that Eric and I can go to the same Christ and pray for relief. And our motto has always kind of been, we can make it stop. Our motto has always been, babe.
Oh, we make it through everything.
We make it through everything, but I think it should really be Christ can bring us through everything. That's something that's kind of changed, that it's not us that gets us through.
When I came to City Church, a friend had brought me that I'd felt that there was a really big hole in my life, that I needed something to just help fill it. Just felt like really empty. I was trying to fill it with things that felt satisfying in the beginning, but really, actually weren't in real life. So I came to City Church, and at first I hadn't been to, since before going to City Church, I hadn't gone to church regularly for like almost 10 plus years. I said maybe like at that Christmas mass with my best friend, and everyone was so nice when I got there, and they were just so warm and inviting, and I just kept coming back. And I remember Jason did one sermon that really just resonated with me, and I was like, wow, that's really speaking to how I felt in my experiences with the church. And I started going to, after that, I really felt like, wow, this is a really good place for me. And I thought, well, maybe explore a little bit more, see what it's really like. And I started going to community groups. It's a wonderful thing to go to be able to have a support group, a network of people that you know that will help you no matter what is going on, and be able to pray for you and pray for other things, other family members that are in your life that need help. And it makes you just feel like less alone, like that the problems that may be going on, just you can see them in your light, and it doesn't feel as bad because you're not going through it by yourself.
Like God has definitely showed up in my life the last year, several occasions, and I've hated it every single time, because the last year of my life hasn't, it's not been horrible. I mean, people, a lot worse things have happened to other people. I have nothing to complain about, but the last year, God has allowed my house to be burglarized. God has allowed the hurricane to come and damage our roof, and I have water coming in the ceiling's caving in. God has allowed the job that, like my dream job that I had, that I loved, that I worked there for years. It's like a lot of things has changed, like structurally in the job, that has kind of destroyed the job that I loved. And we were talking about that earlier today, and you said, well, you got a job that you love desperately, and it doesn't love you back the way it used to. And that's probably just kind of hit the nail on the head. So, God has shown up these ways, and the reason I say that, like these horrible things, like why would you say, how's that God's work? I should ask you how God shows up in your life, and that's, you name all these horrible things. But I think the reason I say that, because I was very reluctant at first to do it, because I didn't really feel like I had anything nice to say. But if I think about it and I'm honest with myself, it is like sometimes these really bad things that you may think are just awful, like right here, right now, it's just kind of sucks, right? And oh man, here's one more thing, God help me, this horrible thing happened to me, help me through this. Well, sometimes that's God letting it happen to you to get you where He wants you.
Oh, I don't know if I can even follow that.
Well, I've been party to it. I know it. Like, I don't know. I mean, that's got to be part of your just. I mean, you probably tell it better than I could, but like I see just with your schedule and everything, like you're struggling. Like, I think that's a good thing in your life. But.
Yeah, it's been probably the most change in 1 year that probably I could squeeze in. So I work full time, I go to school full time, I have this person full time. It's been very stressful. First part of the year, especially my winter semester, I didn't know if I was even going to have the nerve to go back to school this fall. I was having such a hard time with it. For the last couple of years, I was always a nervous kid, but for the last couple of years, I've been really struggling with like anxiety and panic, and it kind of peaked in the spring and last winter. It got to the point where I didn't know if I could even continue what I was doing, and showing up to work on time was just a struggle, and I wasn't sleeping, and when I would finally sleep, I would just sleep the day away. It wasn't living. I was barely getting through it. And I didn't have any classes that I enjoyed. Like, I wasn't finding joy in anything. And I was really looking forward to the summer so I could take a breath and maybe see the sunshine and go to the beach and, I don't know, laugh a little, relax. Felt like I needed that break. As supportive as this guy is, and how much he loves me and puts up with all of my stress and craziness and schedule, just all of it, it's nice to have more than one person, because I don't want to just dump everything on him. My supportive circle is growing, and the more people I get to know at church, the bigger it gets and the better it gets, and I think the stronger I'm going to be, and I'm going to do much better at life because of the people that God has put into mine.
My grandmother used to say, you know, life is like this, you know, if you're living God's will, like life is like this beautiful tapestry you have on this wall. Like, it's, you know, like these very intricate designs. It's just so beautiful and so perfect, and it's just like stunning. Like, man, that's just a work of art. That's beautiful. But if you look on the back of it, you just see where everything is stitched together and the thread is hanging out. So, and like the front of the tapestry that looks so beautiful, that is kind of like the end result of what, you know, God's will for life. He shows up and let him do his thing and like put all the pieces in place. Like, you know, I turn it over. But on the back of it is what just the mess that you had to go through, like all the awful things. Like, why the heck did I lose my friends, or like, you know, breaking my, like, why is all this happening? Like, all these crazy things happening, and you don't know why until like it's all together and you look in front of it.
I talk about brothers and sisters, and you know, you hear it in the Bible, and it's not just words. I really feel like we're starting really to grow as a family, and I love it. We talk about love and being of one heart, unity, and I'm starting to see it play out. And it's going to take time, it's going to take effort, it's going to get messy, but I know God has a major plan for this city, for this church, and if we submit our lives to Him, if we got everything we have, everything we own, and allow Him to use it for His glory, there's nothing that can't happen.
So at City Church, we talk a lot about not only God's story, but our stories as well. Because where our stories intersect with God's stories is where real life happens. It's where belief happens. And it's important for us, for that reason, to tell our stories, to share them. And one thing that we stress a lot in our church family is this phrase, the everyday stuff of life. The everyday stuff of life pretty much captures who we are as people in our daily context of life, whether it be in the home, whether it be at work, and in the relationships that we're involved with. And the reason that we talk a lot about the everyday stuff of life is because that's where God's showing up, believe it or not. Sometimes we're looking for God to show up in something that's much more flashy, but the reality is that God shows up in the mundane, ordinary stuff of life.
The Spirit who makes us one.